Hi everyone, Lori Fry here, coming to you from the office because it's 100 degrees in the greenhouse and the wind was blowing and I didn't want to be in there anymore. So I'm going to talk about some of the plants we have in our spring plant sale that's going on right now, and then my colleague Matthew is going to jump in and tell you about some of his favorites. Some of the shade plants, we've got variegated Solomon seal. This is a really cool, I want to say almost a ground cover because it will kind of take over and it grows really low, but this is a really neat little shade plant. Does pretty well. You can be an experienced gardener, a beginning gardener, and these are actually pretty easy, and we still have some of those left. Next, I've talked about this earlier today, but here's the Brise d'Anjou Polemonium. Polemonium is a shade-loving plant. It can handle dappled shade, a little bit of sun in the morning, and it won't be a problem. This one has purple flowers. It's kind of a weird little, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a neat little plant, all that variegation on the leaves. It gets about a foot tall and has purple flowers. Really kind of a cool plant. I personally like it. You don't need a lot of experience to grow this one. This is a really easy one, and we haven't sold very many of these, so there should be quite a few left. So let's go on to one of my favorite irises. Now, I know people like, ugh, irises. I love irises, especially this iris. This is a Japanese roof iris. This is Iris tectorum forma alba or album. I don't know. It means white flowers. So this is a pretty cool little iris in that this one likes shade. It prefers shade, actually. It will do just fine in the sun, but it flourishes in the shade. You can see this one behind the visitor center here at the gardens, and that's a really neat one. It does drop, I don't want to say drop all of its leaves. How would you describe that? It kind of, the leaves curl up, and they curl up to the ground in the wintertime, so you don't have a lot of excess yellow leaves. They just kind of dry up and blow away after a while. This is really easy iris to take care of. Not a lot of care involved in those. Really like that one. It's a good one. Got quite a few of those. Some thyme, and my tag here broke. It's getting a little brittle, but we've got some thyme, and some people may not have time. See what I did there? Some people may not have a lot of time. But the flowers, I don't know if it's showing up, Madison, but the flowers on this are really pretty. And when you get a carpet of thyme going in your garden and they bloom, it's magical. It looks like flocks. It'll just cover an area. These can handle drought. It's a full sun plant. They can handle drought. I won't charge extra for the weed. They can handle a little extra water. They're really easy to grow. You can use these as herbs if you like to dry your own herbs, and just a really neat little plant. Some thyme. Let's talk about, let's do this one. This is Southern Charm verbascum, and that was an ant. This is a mix of seeds, and they come in like kind of these most antiqued, I don't know how to describe the color on those, more like an antique color, kind of burgundies and peaches and creams, and it is a mix, so I'm not sure what color flower you're going to get, but they have the burgundies and peaches. This is a really neat little plant, and if you have any questions, we will be able to answer questions live here after a while. These are really easy to grow. It's technically a biennial, but I've had some plants that have lasted, the same plant has lasted for 3 years. They will overseed a little bit, so if you like those and want them to grow in an area in your garden, they will continue to spread seed and grow, but they're not, they don't take over. They're a pretty neat little plant. The leaves are kind of rough and have some hairs on them, and so they're pretty tough. Don't have a lot of problems with rabbits or rats or anything chewing on these, so that's another good one. That's a full sun plant, and that's Southern Charm verbascum, or Southern Charm mullein. It's a common name. Let's see. Let's go on. 2 more little dry plants. We got 2 of our daylilies here, and I'm kind of surprised because last year we sold out of most of our daylilies, but we've sold very few of the daylilies this year. But I've got 2 different colors here, and I picked, let's see, Round Midnight is a really neat one. I don't remember the color of Round Midnight, but it's a really cool little, the plant comes up a little quicker, and you usually have several plants in there. Like this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 plants in one pot, and this is less than a year old. So this is a really easy to grow. Daylilies, I think, are overlooked as one of the better flowering plants for gardens because they can handle too much water, they can handle too little water, they can handle just about any soil type, and they will still bloom. They're easy. So if you want one daylily, that's a good one. Scottish Fantasy, and I'm not just pulling this one out because I play the bagpipes. I really like the color on the Scottish Fantasy. This, I know the plant doesn't look like much, it's a little small, but this one is a really pretty pink, and it has some little yellow, hints of yellow in it. This is a really great cultivar. Has a lot of color. The flowers last a little longer than other daylilies, and it's my personal favorite. All right, let's move on to, how about another really great mini pearl phlox. Now this one, kind of want to get a price tag and hang it off the pot, just like Minnie Pearl did with her hat. But this has some really great flowers. These you can see growing in a really big group on the south side of the lake. That I have no bad things to say about this plant. It's super easy to grow. It blooms in the spring. It spreads rhizomatically, so if you want this to kind of spread in an area but not choke out other plants, this is a really nice plant to have. Blooms for about, what would you say, Matthew, 3 weeks?
I think you can go up to a month, possibly.
3 to 4 weeks, you'll have blooms. They're really easy to dig up and move to another area. And if you dig it up, it won't come back in that spot for a year or two. So it's a really great plant, really easy plant. It's drought tolerant, and just a tough plant. Proven that it works here at the gardens. All right, let's see the Koidama ball for a minute. Here is an Oklahoma native. How about these little guys real quick? Another little shade plant, little woodland plant. This is an orchid, the Rattlesnake Orchid, Goodyeria pubescens. And if you feel the leaves, they feel kind of silky. They're really, I don't know if that's showing up or not, Madison, but the leaves look like they've been struck by lightning. This is a really versatile plant. It can handle dry, it can handle wet, it can handle shade, it can handle sun. These are native to southeast Oklahoma, kind of out in the, up in the hills. The small mountains of Oklahoma and the Wichitas and stuff, and they're just really tough. You can grow them inside, you can grow them outside. I have nothing bad to say about them except the flowers aren't huge, but you do get some flowers. But you cannot beat the foliage on those. Again, that's the Rattlesnake Orchid. Those are really fun, and that is an Oklahoma native. Let's see. Oh, forget-me-nots. Can't forget the forget-me-nots. So we've got some forget-me-nots here. This little guy. You see the blooms there. And this one prefers water. It loves to be on the water's edge. If you have a wet area in your garden or in your yard, or maybe around your air conditioner, or anywhere else, this is a really great little plant to put out there. It will bloom all summer long, early spring through the first freeze. You can keep this. It has to stay wet though, or it won't bloom. You can mow over this. So if you want something where the grass won't grow, but you still want to be able to maintain it and keep it short, you can mow over this. It'll just take a little while for it to bloom again. It's just a great little water plant. Water-loving plant, I should say. One more water-loving plant is, and these are only borderline hardy here. This is going to be probably more of an annual for Oklahoma. This is Abel Moschutus Manahot, and this is the yellow musk mellow. Pretty neat little flower on it. This is a hibiscus. Other plants in the hibiscus family include the cotton, okra. What are some others, Matthew?
Marshmallow, swamp mallow.
Swamp mallow. But this is one of the really great little hibiscus plants. This one will bloom all summer long, and you'll have those nice pretty yellow blooms. Just a really easy plant to grow. Don't have anything bad to say about it. All right, and Koidama Balls. Now this one is not in the sale, but I did want to talk about it because we just have started to make a few, and we will have these in the visitor center probably within the next few weeks. This is a little a moss ball, and we have a staghorn fern inside of it. So we will have some of these available in the gift shop here coming up soon. So I just wanted to show everybody that real quick. They're really easy to grow, and I am going to turn it over to Matthew.
Hi folks, I'm Matthew Southall, Lakeside Promenade Curator. Just 4 plants here in our sale. Let's see, all of these are, well, not all of them are native, but they're great plants. This right here is a yarrow, Achillea milliflora. Anyway, it's called terracotta, and it's one of my favorites because it looks a lot like a normal standard yellow yarrow, except as the flower ages, you get tones of orange and russet and down to like a kind of almost brown tone. So it gives a nice terracotta. So it's a nice change from the typical yellow yarrow. You get a nice gradient of colors between reds and yellows when the flower gets to be of age. So a little bit different. It kind of likes, you know, not a lot of attention. It's easy to grow. You can just put it in your garden and really kind of walk away in a way. It's just super easy. So that's the terracotta yarrow. We've got, okay, here we go. We've got a drumstick allium. This is Allium saprophyllon. It's one of my favorite botanic names to say, but it's an onion, an ornamental onion, and so, like the name drumstick allium, that's exactly what happens. It blooms about now through the summer, and the flower heads, you can just leave them on there. They kind of hold their color really well compared to other alliums, and they look exactly like that. Drumsticks. They're probably about 3 to 4 feet tall, and you can see this one's already putting on some little flower heads that are developing, but they'll be about 2-3 inches across, just on tall sticks that look like drumsticks. That's Allium saprophyllon, or drumstick allium, and it forms it'll spreads easily. It naturalizes really well, and so you'll end up with a nice large clump of it within a few years. So it's easy to divide and share, and it's a really great allium. We got an echinacea here. This is Echinacea Magnus Echinacea. It's very similar to the standard coneflower that you see with the reddish purple flowers, except Magnus, what's great about it is it's big. It gets really big. About 2 growing seasons, it'll reach about full height. And this is a little plant in here, but we're talking a 4-foot tall echinacea with really big blooms, long lasting flowers too. So they'll open up, and then those petals will reflex backwards, so you'll get different looking flowers on the same plant. It's a really fun plant and really big. So that, you know, just standard care of any of your echinaceas in your garden. It likes some humus-rich soil for the most part, but you know, well drained, drought resistant, just like all of these. But it's really great. And then we have a what is this? A raspberry delight, raspberry delight, Salvia gregii. Some people call it tongue because if you can see, the little flowers look like they have a tongue sticking out. But this is a really great color here. It's this reddish purple. This is actually very similar to the color that you'll find on the drumstick allium blossoms. It's really close to that actually. This plant gets probably about 3 foot tall and wide, and it will be completely covered in these flowers. So you're going to get a really nice pop of color in your garden on a very tough, drought-resistant plant. It's got its woody stems, so it kind of looks like a woody shrub in a way once it gets of size, but it's another one of my favorites for a nice pop of color with a long-lasting season of bloom. It's blooming now through into the fall easily.
Until it freezes.
Until it freezes. So yeah, this is a great choice for your garden. So those are the 4 I wanted to show you.